critical for Alabama's success on Saturday. And I guess that's a good time for us to transition into players to watch this week, Jake, because I think offensively for Alabama, Amari Niblack is proving to be maybe the most dangerous weapon for Alabama. I mean, especially in the passing game.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. I mean, coming into the season, I think Tommy Reese and a couple others had talked about him being a mismatch nightmare for defenses, and you see why they said that. I mean, he's another guy who has had a touchdown reception taken back from a penalty. So he's starting to come into his own, much like Jalen not so much because he's been in the program for a while, but he hasn't had a lot of starts. But you can say like Caden Proctor, Amari Niblack, some of these guys are true freshmen starting, and it's just taking them to get some game speed, get some game experience under their belts, and you starting to see the fruits and the growth that has happened. That especially with Jalen Milroe as well. I think that's all really he needed was just some gaming experience, But yeah, Amari Niblack, man, I feel like he's going to be the next stud at tight end at Alabama.
Yeah, and Iceman makes a great point. I think all the tight ends are really Oots and Dupree are blocking their rear ends off, and Niblack, and they've made a couple plays in the passing game as well.
Yeah,
but Niblack's just different, man. I mean, I don't know how you cover that dude. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5", 230, 240, and has wide receiver skills. So just good luck covering that guy. So just and Jalen seems to like throwing to Niblack. So I think the South Florida game is the only game he doesn't have a reception in this season, and that's the only game that Milroe did not play in. So I think Niblack's going to be a big piece this weekend as well, and all the tight ends for that matter, because they're a really important part of our run game as well, because we like to run 12 personnel so much.
Yeah, and that one clip I showed you, CJ Dupree getting in there, pushing his guy over to Latham just to get absolutely pancaked by Latham, and then Dupree going into the second level, getting the next guy there. So that's one thing that Saban has always said. He wants his tight ends and his wide receivers to block, and if you don't block, you're not going to get on the field and play. So they must learn to block in the open field, and all of our guys, wide receivers and tight ends do a great job blocking and run support.
Yeah. Rick makes a great point there. He says Reese has to be on top of his game. I agree. I think this is where he's going to make his money as Alabama's offensive coordinator. I mean, this is the game to show what you are made of, and this is a big time moment for Reese in this offense. So I'm excited to see what the game plan is. And what type of adjustments he makes once he gets into the game, because there's going to have to be adjustments made as well. So no doubt, Rick, a big game for Tommy Reese as far as play calling and game planning goes. Jake, offensively, I kind of gave my player to watch. Who are you looking at offensively as your player to watch this week?
I'm going to go with a guy we hadn't seen much yet, but I feel like we're going to start, moving forward because you saw a little bit of him last week, and that's Justice Haynes. You saw what the caliber player he is and what he brings to the table when given his opportunity. I know there's three other guys in front of him, but much like a couple of these other young guys, freshmen, kind of like Cather Downs, at some point you've got to get this dude on the field at some level somewhere, because he's just too special of a player to be sitting on the sideline for the entire game. So I feel like Justice Haynes is going to come in the second half and maybe light a spark, run, have a couple big runs to get the, and then maybe punch one in late in the third quarter to make it maybe a two score game to 17-point game, and then we'll just coast the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, Justice Haynes is averaging 6.4 yards a carry. Now, he only has 8 carries, but in his 8 carries, that makes him the 4th leading rusher on the team. So I like Justice Haynes. I think he has big play potential, and that's the kind of guy you could bring in late in the fourth quarter once everybody's wore out, and instead of it being a 4 or 5 yard gain, it's a 50-yard gain. So, and it really opens up the game and changes the game. So I'm with you there. I think Justice Haynes could be a real significant player on Saturday afternoon. Defensive. Hey, good point. Field goals would be key.
We got the greatest field goal kicker in college football. So,
Yep. Real confident in Will Rockert and James Vernon when it comes to kicking the football.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. Players to watch defensively. Who you got there?
I'm really, play yours. If it's just one person, but I'm going to go with a whole unit. I'm going to say the inside linebackers. We don't really know the status of Deontay Lawson as of now. He might play, he might not. But if he don't, I feel very confident in the duo and the trio of Blackshire, Jilla Campbell, and Trez Marshall covering that, and then having guys behind them like Justice Jefferson and maybe Sean Murphy come in if need be. I'm really, really excited to see what those guys can do, and I really feel like Campbell is about to tear somebody up because he's just all over the field, just like Deontay Lawson was when he's out there healthy playing.
Yeah, I like how you kind of picked a position group there, and if you hadn't have done that, the player I was going to go with was Jihad Campbell. But since you kind of covered the inside linebackers, I'm really going to be looking at what the interior of Alabama's defensive line does. Tim Smith, Tim Keenan, Justin Aboybe, Jamarian Latham, because I think all those guys are starting to play some of the best football of their Alabama careers. So I'm excited to see if they can continue that against A&M because we know what you got in Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner. If they can get after Max Johnson on a consistent basis and kind of disrupt him, not just from the edge, but from the interior of that defensive line, it could be a long day for that Aggies offense. So I'm really going to have my eye on that defensive front for Alabama, and I think they could be the difference in the game for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Stacey, because all the eyes are going to be on Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell. So one of these interior linemen is going to have a chance to get after Max Johnson, and then if you force him out of the pocket, then you're going to have Dallas Turner on one end waiting on him, and then Chris Braswell on the other end waiting on him, and then one of the inside linebackers on the inside rush could get him as well. So going to be crucial for these interior linemen to get in the backfield and make some noise in their backfield to make Max Johnson maybe throw a couple picks and make mistakes.
Yeah, so if you're in the chat right now, I want you to give us a player from the offensive side, a player from the defensive side that you think is going to be critical for Alabama's success on Saturday.